Pay me, pay me, pay me my silver now. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my silver now.
Good morning, Bix Weir, roadrunner.com with your morning horn of Z's, your sip of chaga. Mind you, chaga coffee. All right. I always thought 23 years ago when I started investigating silver manipulation that one day I'd run out of stuff to talk about. Never. It never ends. The insanity of how many times we have proven to the CFTC, which is the regulator. But mind you, the COMEX, the CME, is a self-regulating entity, which means they're the ones who are supposed to stop this. I have never heard of a single time, at least against the big banks, that the CME has ever, used that power of regulation. If anything, they use it to get rid of the little guys, get rid of the Hunt brothers back in basically the Hunt brothers were taken out by a change of rule on the COMEX. They said all of a sudden, silver was running to $50 because the Hunt brothers bought 120 million ounces of physical silver, and their big mistake was buying about 110 million futures contracts that they were taking delivery. The COMEX changed the rules and said, okay, no buyers, only sellers. Well, what's that going to do to the price? Talk about manipulation. If you want to arrest someone for manipulation, arrest the U.S. government and the CME, which is the most criminal exchange on the planet. CME is the entity that will go away. All these exchanges will go away. But if you want a freely traded market, there can't be futures and options at all for a while. And when the derivative bubble pops, there won't be. And all you people who use it, Andy Schectman uses it. I get how legitimacy can be part of this market, but the reality is the abuse and the potential for abuse way outweighs the benefits you get from hedging. The actual hedges, remember, the COMEX trades about 1 billion ounces, 100 billion ounces of silver per year. At least they used to. It's going down now because all the big banks are getting out of the COMEX, which is good. But the price is still rigged every single day, every single trade. Anyway, I want to talk about that in a second. But first, we're going to talk about U.S. Mint coinage. I just posted a discussion with Jenny Moonstone about the cheapest U.S. Mint coinage you can get these days. What will happen to it? What will be the outcome if you buy cheap nickels, war nickels today, which is the cheapest U.S. Mint coinage you can get. Yes, don't forget, you need 3 times as much storage room for the war nickels because it's 35% silver. A lot of people criticize me for recommending these. I'm used to criticism, truthfully. I get it. Just give me a better argument. The argument is these have not performed as well as any of the other silver coinage coming out of the U.S. Mint historically. And it's true. These are nickels made in 1944, 45, around that time during World War II. And they only have 35% silver in them. Yes, they have not performed. You don't see, look at pre-65 coinage, which is 90%. That's fetching a $8, $10 premium these days. Look at the Eagles fetching a $15 premium, which is close to 100%. And they're saying, "Oh, look at the nickels. There's no premium at all on those. I go, yeah, exactly. There's no premium, so you don't have to worry about getting your ass handed on the premium stuff. It will go down below the spot price of silver, but remember, you're not buying them for 80, 90% over spot. You're buying them for 5, 10% over spot. You can get a hell of a lot more silver nickels. Now, the resale is the question. What will people resell? What could you resell them for? The play here, I'm not saying invest everything you got into the nickels. The play here is that if Jim Sinclair is correct, and Bill Holter, and we talked to Andy Schectman about this, that the U.S. government is going to differentiate U.S. made coinage versus gold and silver versus industrial type, as in they could make the industrial type. They could nationalize it. If you don't believe that, top Democrats urge Biden to nationalize the oil and gas industry. It's not going to take much for them to nationalize silver. I hate to tell all the silver bugs out there. So the best play, I think, is to hold U.S. silver coinage. Now, if they nationalize it, the law says they got to pay fair market value. But that's the thing. What is fair market value? If we don't know what fair market value is, if what we see on the comics every day is the price suppression of silver, which is what we are seeing every day, will they say, okay, we're gonna nationalize silver? You got to turn in all your. Most people won't turn it in, but they can say it. They nationalized gold back in 1934, but silver is very different. Gold was just monetary metal, basically. And I think the reason they nationalized it is, I don't think it was to take down the little guy's gold. They had so much gold out of the Grand Canyon, they knew that it would be worth very little percentage-wise compared to what it was, and gold was money back then. So there was a lot of other things going on, but now it's clearly a fight between monetary silver and industrial silver, and I wouldn't put it by this government especially, but even the next government to nationalize silver. Or at least attempt it. Remember, we live in a global marketplace, so black markets will occur. It should be, everybody will be running to Mexico to live there, to mine silver and get that stuff out of the ground. That's why Mexico's going to pay for the wall, like Trump said. So much going on behind the scenes. But anyway, let me get to, I've posted 2 private road discussions with Jenny. One is last minute U.S. coins you can buy on the cheap. We talk about the future of the U.S. coinage and what that means. And then we do Jenny had taken a break from politics, and so I just nailed her with like 5 readings, the kind of readings that I'll just hold up a picture. She, half the time doesn't know who it is and will tell us from the tarot and from her intuition what's going on. Really interesting stuff. Navigating the spiritual moonshot. Who's good, who's bad, and who will win the politics of the day. So go check that out on the private road. If you're not a private road member, join the private road. Click subscribe today, and we will send you a silver Ruda coin, the coolest coin ever made, if I do say so myself. Okay, let's talk about this. It looks like, well, they might post today, but it looks like 850,000 is the max. That's the max that the U.S. Mint is going to make for October. Probably something, I would guess, 500,000 for November and then 0 in December. This is an entity, the U.S. Mint, run by a person named Ventris Gibson. Ventris Gibson was put there on June 22nd, 2022. The lifetime profession of Ventris Gibson is HR, is layoffs, is shutting down of things. The guy before her, David Ryder, had experience at the Mint. Every Mint director before her has had tons of experience with money or the Mint. Ventris Gibson is solely, her entire 40-year career in and out of government has been in HR, human resources. So don't tell me, Ventris Gibson, in this letter that you sent me this year, and you sent all the people who've ever purchased from the U.S. Mint, dear valued customer, we appreciate your continued patience as we work to increase numismatic production among unprecedented demand for circulating coins. That right there, unprecedented demand for circulating coins, staffing shortage during the global pandemic, and supply chain issues. All that's gone now. She has no excuse anymore. This is the line that gets me. This year, meaning 2022, we significantly increased production quantities of one of our most popular coins, the American Eagle 1-ounce silver dollar, which will lead to broader availability for our customers. Bullshit. Let's take a look. Here's the 2020 numbers. She says she significantly increased the silver 1-ounce silver eagles. That's this column right here. This is the U.S. Mint website. That is what she's made, 14 million coins. Significantly increased, 14 million coins as of October. So what did we do last year? 14 million this year so far. Maybe we'll get to 15. I doubt it. Last year, 28 million coins. And we had a 2-month stoppage so they can, change the design. Still 28 million coins. What about the year before? 30 million coins. 30 million, 28 million, even with the stoppage. And she's saying that 14 million, and I quote, significantly increased production quantities of one of our most popular coins, the American Eagle 1-ounce silver dollar. Hello, Ventris. Que capular, if you know Spanish. What the F? Ventris? She's lying to us illegally. Illegally lying to the American people. It's shocking. Shocking, I tell you. Maybe not as shocking as the regulatory body, the CFTC, the Commodities Futures Trading Commission, who everybody likes to laugh at because we've shown them, we've proven a million times frontwards and backwards that the big banks collude and rig the price of gold and silver. As a matter of fact, the DOJ, Trump's DOJ, had to come in and bust JP Morgan and Blythe Masters for rigging the price of silver between those years that we were screaming about it. 2008 to 2016, whatever it is, it's still going on. But why did it take Trump and the DOJ to do the job of the CFTC? And who is the man in charge? Gary Gensler, who's now in charge of the cryptos. All right, the CFTC just released their annual enforcement results. Dun, dun, dun. Remember, the fiscal year of the United States ended September 30th. So here's what the CFTC has done. The Commodities Futures Trading Commission today released the agency's enforcement results for the fiscal year 2022 that demonstrates its continued commitment to protect customers and ensuring market integrity. Tell me anybody on the planet that believes that the silver market has any integrity at all. How are they allowed to just lie? The CFTC is lying now. In fiscal year 2022, the CFTC obtained orders imposing over $2.5 billion in restitution. I'm like, wow, that's a big freaking number. It's probably their biggest ever. Disgorgement and civil monetary penalties, either through settlement or litigation. In the agency's efforts to prevent fraud, manipulation, reporting, and supervision and misconduct related to digital assets, the CFTC filed 82 enforcement actions and continued to devote significant resources to litigating complex cases and achieve several litigation successes this fiscal year. First of all, where is the $2.5 billion going to, Mr. CFTC? What happened to the JP Morgan $920 million that supposedly they paid, if they ever did pay, 2020? Where does this money go into the black hole? Whistleblowers? You got to be inside JP Morgan to be a whistleblower. If I worked for JP Morgan, I would love that. I'd make so much money as a silver trader in JP Morgan. I'll just blow the whistle on them. We've been blowing the whistle on them for decades. And you notice once JP Morgan was told you can no longer trade and rig the markets, all of a sudden everything switched from the JP Morgan house account on the COMEX to the customer account. So they just collude with all their customers. And it was already proven that they collude. The CFTC needs to be disbanded. The SEC needs to be disbanded. If an exchange can't play on the up and up, don't participate. We need all exchanges to go down truthfully, and they will if there's no regulators. Why? Because it would be a free-for-all of people lying, cheating, and stealing, and nobody would participate. That's how free markets work. If you can't prove that you are on the up and up, don't give me any regulator to try to prove it for me. That's the most ridiculous thing ever. So how did the CFTC make $2.5 billion in all their fines and shit from cryptos? Absolutely. They even start listing them down here. Here's where they made their money. So these are the biggest ones. The CFTC charged defendants who operated a digital asset exchange under the name of DigiX Futures, which illegally offered futures transactions on a platform other than a DCM, which is an approved CFTC platform, and also with attempting to manipulate the price of DigiX Futures native token, failing to implement customer identification and anti-money laundering program. The CFTC charged defendants with commodity pool fraud, among other violations arising from the defendants' acceptance of at least 29,421 Bitcoin with a value of over $1.7 billion. That's the major chunk. Cryptos. It's all cryptos. That's where they made all their money. CFTC found Tether Holdings and others made untrue or misleading statements, $41 million. CFTC's charged defendants with illegally offering leveraged and margin retail commodity transactions in digital assets, such as Ether, DAI, and others. So the vast majority... Oh, here's another one. In its largest benchmark manipulation case to date, the CFTC found an energy and commodities trading firm engaged in manipulation and foreign corruption in the U.S. and global oil markets, including attempted manipulation in 4 U.S.-based S&P Platts physical oil benchmarks and related futures and swaps. The CFTC ordered the firm to pay $1.186 billion. You know what I think that is? I think that was either Glencore or Trafigura. I'm not saying I know. I'm just clicking on it. There, Commodity Futures Trading Commission today issued an order filing and settling charges against Glencore AG of Switzerland. Glencore and Trafigura are the brainchild of Mark Rich, also known as Mark Reich. That's the guy Clinton pardoned. Those of you who have studied Mark Rich know, read a book called Metal Men. 100% manipulation, coercion, running oil out of Iran and, any commodity with this guy, Pincus Green was his guy, his shipping guy that Mark Rich would run around. Basically, if you're a corrupt government and you want something moved or you want prices rigged, you called Mark Rich back in the day. Now he's dead. His company was split up into 2 different companies, one public and one private. The public one is Glencore, and the private one is a company called Trafigura. If you want to understand commodities, physical commodities, not the JP Morgan derivative trades, go check out and study Mark Rich and his companies. So that's where basically the 2 places you got it. Mark Reich, that's his real name, was Mark Reich, and he changed it because it sounded too German after the war. This has all been covered on the Road to Ruta for decades. The CFTC is finally doing something about that. They still haven't busted the chief ringleader of manipulation at JP Morgan, which is Blythe Masters. They got all their underlings, supposedly. I don't think they've been sentenced yet, but they never touched Blythe. The Blythe on the world, the queen of derivatives, or her boss, her direct boss, Jamie Dimon. Do I think that's coming? Yeah, when the world ends. But when will the world end? I don't know. It could be any day now. I heard Biden's talking about, but the Biden Defense Department's talking about first strike nuclear strikes. It ain't going to happen, by the way. You don't have to worry about anything nuclear. There'll be a lot of talk of it, and maybe we'll get right down to the last second. We are being protected. I've seen it with my own eyes, truthfully. Those of you who have followed the Road to Ruta long enough know I was up at my dad's vineyard, middle of the night, me, Amy, and a friend of ours, I don't know, midnight, completely black. All of a sudden, a gigantic explosion in the sky lit up the whole valley for like 30 seconds. I'm like, wow, what was that? And I had my night vision goggles with me. So I pull out the night vision goggles, I turn them on, I look up in the sky, I see this big column of smoke coming in, like a meteor coming in to hit the planet, and it hit something and then it went right out. Boom, boom. I saw it with my own eyes. Is it a dome? Was it some kind of laser that hit it or something? It looked like some kind of protective dome around the earth. You can call me crazy all you want. Luckily, I have witnesses with me. Amy, my wife, and my friend. And we all saw it, and they all took the glasses and they're like, oh my God, it came down like this, hit something. And it was huge, like an Earth elimination event. It was massive. literally lit up the entire valley. I'm surprised it wasn't on the front page of every news station in the world. But shit like that happens all the time, and they don't talk about it. Something is protecting our planet. I'm not worried about nukes. That's my take. I am worried about nationalization of assets. Absolutely. Exxon records record profits again as the oil industry sees banner quarter. Yes, of course, oil and gas commodity companies, as soon as the price of the commodity goes over the production value, what production costs, everything else is profit. So if it goes up 50%, that's all. They're just sucking in money. And the reverse happens too. And what happens to politicians when they see piles of money being made by anybody? They go after it. Why do you think they went after all the digital crypto stuff? They see piles of money. They're greedy freaking bastards. And they want to take over. Now they want to take over all oil and gas in the United States. Wait till silver hits $1,000 an ounce. Biden and his little family is going to say, "Oh my God, you're going to hurt ESG stuff. You're going to hurt the solar panels. You're going to hurt the electric car industry. How are we supposed to go green with these greedy silver investors?" And they will nationalize silver. It's up to you whether you want to give it back. I don't think they're going to make you melt down the silver coinage. There's not enough of it. So, I mean, that's my number one investment was the pre-65 coinage. You used to get it like maybe $1 over spot. Sometimes it was trading at spot. Now it's like $10 over spot, so I don't recommend it anymore. Silver Eagles, but you have to have some. You got to have some pre-65 coinage. I was buying and swapping for the 40%, which is 65 to like 71, 72, 71, I think. Because the premiums were there. Now these premiums are off the charts. Nickels, you need 3 times as much room to store them, but hey, you're not going to pay the monster premiums. You might now, because I've been talking about it for a week or two. These are the war nickels, but hey, you got to do what you got to do. The key is you got to have some silver in your possession, and if you have the coin of your land, if you live in Canada, get the Canadian maple leaves. If you live in Australia, get all the Perth mint stuff that has dollar denominations on it and are minted by the government. Same with the UK, Canada, you name it. If your country doesn't have a mint making coins, I don't know what to tell you. Get 1 ounce silver rounds, I guess, or the closest country to you, so that, like, if you live in Africa, maybe it's the Krugerrands. I don't know. All right, interesting talk about the metaverse. Meta's value plunges $700 billion since last year. This is the old Facebook. Facebook had made a huge problem, I think. The metaverse hasn't, the infrastructure, the rails haven't even been laid yet, and they focus their entire, everything on the metaverse. Yes, the metaverse is going to be the future, but the future can come tomorrow or it can come in 10 or 20 years. Remember, the internet came out in 1999. It wasn't for like 10 years until people were actually using it significantly. In the early days, it was just an email. And that was a breakthrough type of stuff. And people didn't understand it for 10 years. Metaverse is new, and Facebook put everything they had into the metaverse. Idiotic. Especially because they're dealing on the retail side of the metaverse. They should have bought as much Theta as they could and started a validator. If you're in the markets, this stuff is fun. The reality of, I don't play in the stock market anymore. I used to. I was buying mining companies, and then I figured out that, oh my God, what's going to happen if silver price is freely traded, $1,000 silver? Not one country in the world would allow their silver to be someone to own their silver. Mexico will shut off. Will nationalize every mine. Of course they will, for the good of their people. Because at that point, that will be money. If you have mining stocks, I think it's the craziest investment I've ever heard of. Because the best thing that can happen for the price of your metal, the underlying metal, is a moonshot, is freely traded silver and gold. And when there's freely traded silver and gold, there will never be a mine operated by a third party, especially overseas. Can you imagine Mexico after understanding? There's going to be a time where people say, oh my God, the markets have been rigged with computers and derivatives for all this time. We didn't even know. And you think that the government of Mexico or the people of Mexico are going to say, Joe Schmo over at Wall Street owns 90% of this mine down the street. Good luck with that. Good luck enforcing that law. No, nationalization's coming. Be ready for it. It's my take. Anyway, back to, if you want to own the rails, the beginnings of the metaverse, buy your Theta today. Get as much Theta as possible. Theta is doing everything right. The Meta chain is coming in December. Remember, Facebook's Meta was a bet on the retail side of the metaverse, that it would be all ready to go. It's not ready to go. Tracks need to be laid, and Theta is the number one track layer, if you ask me. The rails are being laid. It is way early in the Theta world, and they're doing everything right. As a matter of fact, they just got another person to say, another company, Immersive Enterprise Laboratories, is going to start their own blockchain on the Theta Meta chain. That's three. They have three big companies now who are going to be creating their own blockchains. And this will be the IEL blockchain with their own tokens. Samsung will do that. Sony will do that. I expect what Hitomi from Crypto Viewing saw was YouTube doing that. YouTube creating a blockchain on Theta. Really interesting, because YouTube, as the money fails, YouTube's going to have to invent a way to pay their people who are posting stuff, and why not use a YouTube coin? YouTube dimes, you can do that on the Theta blockchain starting on December 1st. Just keep that in mind. Important stuff. Home sales are crashing. Absolutely. Houses aren't an investment. The only reason houses have gone up in price is because of the free money. It's all been inflation. Housing, I've always said, houses are depreciating assets. Over time, they depreciate, not appreciate. The only reason they appreciate is they kept getting lower and lower interest rates, which drives the ability to purchase. With interest rates, right now, they have to go over 10%. Nobody's going to be buying a home. I expect houses to drop 90%. That's my take. Nancy Pelosi husband violently assaulted in SF home invasion. I told you the Democrats are going to pull anything out, but how do we know this? Because the other guy, what's his name? Swalwell is also reporting he's been violently attacked. This is all the Democrats don't have much left. So we'll see what happens. Pelosi's house is guarded by Secret Service, I believe. So how did he get in so much trouble? I don't know. I think it's bullshit. I'm going to call bullshit. Anyway, go check out the private road at Road to Ruta. Click on subscribe today. And with every subscription or renewal, at least for now, we'll send you a Road to Ruta Lives coin. Here's how they're made, and I'll talk to you guys later.